I was living in the shallows, chasing meaning in the blue, breathing only out of habit, never fully pulling through. Every dream was tinted fragile, every promise made of glass, and the present felt impatient for a future that would pass. I kept waiting for permission to exist without a claim, but the heart can't find its rhythm if it's scared to say its name. Before I learned to breathe, life was just a borrowed sound. Every joy was hit or miss, every truth was underground. Before I learned to breathe, I was just surviving air, and the world kept moving past me like it didn't know I was there. You arrived without announcing, with a softness in your tone. You uncovered hidden chambers I had never really known, and you asked me what I wanted, like the answer had a voice. But I'd never heard that question, given space to be a choice. I had always lived in quiet, as if quiet was a shield, but the lungs don't know they're empty till the breath is finally revealed. Before I learned to breathe, life was just a borrowed sound. Every joy was hit or miss, every truth was underground. Before I learned to breathe, I was just surviving air, with a pulse that kept pretending one and didn't need repair. Maybe breathing isn't simple when the heart is learned to hide. Maybe living takes a moment just to step into your size, and the world you think is waiting isn't half as far away. Once the breath becomes permission to exist inside the learning how to stretch beneath. Before I learned to breathe, I mistook the hush for peace, never knowing how the holding could become its own release. Before I learned to breathe, I believed the lie of less, till the air became a promise I was finally allowed to face. And I'm grateful for the breaking, for the ache that made me see there was life I hadn't tasted before breath belonged to me. I held your hand through trembling nights, fought shadows I couldn't see. I whispered all the things I knew would keep you close to me. But the world has ways of breaking even hearts that try to hold. And I felt the walls around us crack beneath beneath the cold. I thought I had the answers, I thought I knew the way. But some storms can't be weathered, no matter what you say. I couldn't keep us safe, even when I tried my best. Even when I gave my everything, I failed the quiet test. I couldn't keep us safe, though I fought against the tide. And the love I carried with me couldn't keep the dark outside. Your eyes grow distant while I struggle to remain. Every step I thought would anchor only magnified the pain. I try to shield the fragile, try to hold the pieces whole, but some wounds have no surrender, some breaks are in the soul. Couldn't keep us safe, even when I tried my best. Even when I gave my everything, I failed the quiet test. I couldn't keep us safe, though I fought against the tide. And the love I carried with me couldn't keep the dark outside. Though the walls began to bend, I'll remember how I tried till the very bitter end. Again, I couldn't keep us safe, I couldn't keep us safe, but I gave you all I knew. Even if the world was louder, even if it broke us through, I couldn't keep us safe, but I hope you felt my fight in the love I tried to carry through the long and endless night. I held your hand through trembling nights, and though the darkness came, I'll never stop remembering. I tried to bear the flame. We left through empty rooms like the hours had no weight. Every glance was an echo, every word a quiet gate. I thought the story lingered, that the chapters would extend, but the truth slipped in softly, and I didn't notice the end. The little things kept shifting, the pauses grew too long, and I I kept reaching for the moments that had already moved away. I tried to hold the laughter that had faded in the gray. All the letters left unopened, all the calls I never made, built a bridge between us that no light could ever trade. The seconds whispered secrets I ignored because I tried to pretend forever lasts when it quietly says goodbye. I didn't notice the ending while the pages turned so slow. Every silence kept repeating all the things I didn't know. I didn't notice the ending till the final line was gone, and the echoes of the story stayed alive, but I moved on. Maybe endings aren't dramatic, maybe they slip like tide, maybe love just drifts away while we're reading the lines. And even if the curtain's falling and the scene is out of sight, I'll keep remembering the journey, even if I miss the night. I didn't notice it pretending. I didn't notice it pretending till the quiet spoke its truth, till the moments we were holding felt like shadows from our youth. I didn't notice the ending till I felt the empty space, and the story stays with me. Even though I miss the bend, I didn't notice the ending till it quietly began. The sunlight fell across the floor where we used to sit and speak. I thought our words were steady walls, but the ground beneath was weak. You lingered in the doorway like you'd always been in place, and I never saw the silence that would fill your empty space. I kept assuming you'd return, that the story had more time, but the truth slipped past my fingers like a clock that won't rewind. I didn't think you'd leave, not this suddenly, this fast, not with just a quiet glance and a shadow from the past. I didn't think you'd leave while I was still holding on to the pieces of a promise that were gone before the dawn. I replay every moment, every laugh, every slight, every word that went unspoken, every turning of the night. And I wonder if you noticed how your absence reshaped me, or if I was just another thing that you let slip free. I wasn't ready for the leaving, wasn't ready for the sound of footsteps from drift. Maybe some departures happen without ever leaving gifts. And I remembering the door that closed too soon. I'll carry all the traces of a love that left too heartbeat, the air remembers every sigh. I didn't think you'd leave, and yet the world went by. I still remember winter, how the cold clung to the glass, how we whispered softer promises like the moment wouldn't pass. And you looked at me for answers that I didn't have to say, because truth can live in silence when the heart won't look away. I wasn't trying to be perfect, I just wanted to be heard. And every breath I shared with you was more than just a word. I meant every word, every vow that I was given, every hope I set aside just to keep our story living. I meant every word, even when you doubted me. I was speaking from a place that the eye can always see. You always questioned honesty, like belief was hard to earn, like affection came with interest and trust was something burned. But love is not a barter, and the heart won't play pretend. Even when it's trembling at the thought of reaching end, I wasn't asking you for faith or the certainty of fate, just a corner of devotion you could choose to cultivate. I meant every word, every vow that I was given, every hope I set aside just to keep our story living. I meant every word, even when you doubted me. I was speaking from a place that the eye can always see. syllable was wasted, not a promise went unheard. If you doubt the way I loved you, just remember every word. The streets were quiet under neon skies, and I felt the weight of unsaid goodbyes. Every corner held a memory, every shadow whispered quietly. I tried to follow the path I knew, but every step kept leading to you. So I walked in circles, slow and alone, because I took the long way home. I wanted to linger in the echoes of the moments we used to share, but the road kept stretching farther, and the night became the air. I took the long way home to feel the space you left behind, to hear the silence in the distance, and to wander through my mind. I took the long way home, though the miles were mine to claim, because sometimes getting lost is the only way to feel the same. The city lights were bleeding through the haze of my regret. Every street lamp seemed to ask me how much I could forget, and I remembered all the laughter, all the tears we never showed, and I realized the journey was the only way I know. I wasn't running from the ending, I was chasing what had been. Every step a quiet question, every turn a dream unseen. I took the long way home to feel the space you left behind, to hear the silence in the distance, and to wander through my mind. I took the long way home, though the miles were mine to claim, because sometimes getting lost is the only way to feel the same. In the spring I made excuses for the way you pulled away. Said you needed room to breathe, said you needed time to stay. And the flowers bloomed around me like they didn't hear the news. But the sunlight felt much colder when I sensed what I could lose. Still I kept my hands wide open, still I kept my heart alive, thinking love just needed weather to remember how to thrive. I waited through the seasons for a sign you'd turn around, for a word that held an answer, for a place we could be found. I waited through the seasons till the wanting turned to where, and the calendar kept asking if you'd ever reappear. In the summer you grew distant with a warmth that wasn't mine. Your voice carried empty laughter, and your eyes refused to shine. I kept hoping for a moment where the truth would break its shell, but the heat just made me restless as the doubts began to swell. Autumn whispered different warnings as the leaves began to fall, and the space between our footsteps felt impossibly too tall. I waited through the seasons for a sign you'd turn around, for a word that held an answer, for a place we could be found. I waited through the seasons till the wanting turned to where, and the calendar kept asking if you'd ever reappear. Winter came without permission, with a silence sharp and slow, and the cold became the language that our hearts refused to know. But even in the stillness, with the turning of the year, I kept saving room for someday, long after someday disappeared. Seasons, time unraveled all the reasons. I waited through the seasons till the waiting learned to rest, till the hope became a whisper and the ache became confessed. I waited through the seasons till the truth began to show. You can't want what isn't coming, you can't stay if they let go. And the clock kept changing colors as the year fell out of sight. I waited through the seasons, but the seasons won the fight. You laid out all our plans like maps across the floor, tracing futures with your fingers like we'd always have one more. But time grew complicated and the distance found a door, and the things we swore were endless didn't feel that way anymore. I tried to stretch the moment till it reached the edge of grace, but eternity gets smaller when it runs out of a place. Yeah. I watched forever shrink down to moments we outgrew, from a lifetime to a season, from a promise to a clue. I watched forever shrink from always down to almost, and the dream we held so tightly turned to echoes of a ghost. We whispered last year's stories like they still belong to us, but the more we tried to hold them, the more they filled with rust. All the tenderness got quieter, all the reasons lost their spark, and the sunrise we were chasing never made it past the dark. I wanted to believe in us, but belief alone can't mend what begins with boundless longing, sometimes finds a smaller end. I watched forever shrink down the moments we outgrew, from a lifetime to a season, from a promise to a clue. I watched forever shrink from moments down to almost, and the dream we held so tightly turned to echoes of a ghost. Maybe love was never measured by how far the story goes. Maybe endings are reminders that even gardens can oppose. And I'll keep the sweetest fragments of the world we almost knew, but forever isn't endless if it doesn't include you. Shrink, shrink. Forever doesn't always think. Holds forever shrink till it fit inside a sigh, till the weight of every maybe found a quieter goodbye. I watched forever shrink till I couldn't make it stay, and the word we used so freely slowly learned to fade away. What we called forever found a different name, and I learned that shrinking endings still can carry love's remains. I kept my heart in quiet corners, hoping you would see the way. Every glance a muted question, every word I didn't say. I traced the edges of our moments like they might give a clue, but the meaning hid in silence, and I waited for you. You were standing just beside me, and I thought you understood, but you never reached the distance where my truth had stood. If only you had and the spaces between us grew louder than it all. I wanted to offer everything if you'd only open the door, but your silence built a fortress that I couldn't break no more. Even love requires courage, even hope demands a hand, and the moments left unspoken are the ones we can't withstand. If only you had asked, I would never let it fade. If only you had reached the words I kept afraid. If only you had asked, the answers weren't that far. I was waiting in the quiet, hoping you would hear my heart. Maybe some things stay hidden, even when the heart is clear. Maybe longing is a language we're afraid to volunteer. And I'll carry what I offered, even though you never came, because love can still exist without a voice to claim. If only if only you had asked, I would have met you there, with every truth I guarded, with every word I'd share. If only you had asked, the quiet could have turned into a place where hearts remember all the lessons they had learned. I kept waiting in the shadow for a question never cast. I'll always hold the moment. If only you had asked. We kept circling the distance like we didn't want the end, drawing maps in contradiction just to stay where we began. Every step felt like a question, every pause a turning sign, but the road was unfamiliar and we weren't aligned in time. We could see the other shoreline, but we never found the cost of the risk it would have taken just to reach what we had lost. That was the bridge we never crossed, where the maybe met the fear, where the words we never spoke started fading year by year. That was the bridge we never crossed, though it lingered in our view. We kept standing at the edge, as if waiting was the proof. There were moments in the quiet where the choice was loud and clear, when the path was wide and open and the future felt sincere. But the heart has ways of faltering when the truth gets too defined, and the weight of what if lingers long after you decline. I could feel the possibility growing smaller every day, and the hope that once was certain softly learned to drift away. That was the bridge we never crossed, where the maybe met the fear, where the words we never spoke started fading year by year. That was the bridge we never crossed, though it lingered in our view. We kept standing at the edge as if waiting was the proof. Maybe love is more than wanting, maybe wanting is in need, maybe choices made in silence plant a different kind of seed. And I still replay the moment when the crossing felt so close, but the fear overran the outcome and the truth was diagnosed. Crossed. We were almost never lost. That was the bridge we never crossed, though we walked up to the start. Though the future leaned toward open, we retreated from the heart. That was the bridge we never crossed, but I'll carry what it cost. Sometimes losing isn't breaking, sometimes choosing is lost. And in dreams I sometimes wander to the place we hesitated, to the bridge we never crossed, where our story stayed unstated.